Hello everyone, welcome to another episode sorry, of the how-to series, and this is going to be about raiding. But I had to share this, not to specify the people, but this is fun. Man, so many. And do I have Molly in my defense now? No, I don't, see? No Molly! Because Mavrid made fun of me for tryharding. So, no Molly anymore. What do you say now? Okay, so this is about raids. Now, most of you, when I made the question, you all told me, we don't want we don't want 1 to 3. We all can do it, or at least it's not that hard for us. So this is gonna be a straight up 4 and 5 guide. Let me put the music on a sec. Okay, so let's start with the basic parts of raiding, right? Of the team, of picking your team. We're gonna start with frontline. So, picking your frontline, what you want in your frontline. You want something that debuffs, for starters. Preferably, you want something with revenge on. Either 1 set or 3 sets or 2 sets, I don't care. But you preferably want something with revenge and with something good on the first attack. Why? Because whenever the boss attacks, whether that is the third attack, the stun, if the frontline doesn't get stunned, the nose attack where it does like that one, or the debuffing attack, all 3 hit the frontline. Everything hits the frontline. So revenge on the frontline is a very, very, very good set, whether that's 1 set or 2 sets or 3 sets of revenge. What you also want in the front line is something that is inherently tanky. Like you will not put any attack-based monster in the front line. Usually, like you can ruin an attack monster, defensively, but why not just use a defense-based or an HP-based monster? Examples are, DS. Defense-based monsters are very, very good for frontline. HP-based monsters as well. Supports are also good. Like Delphoid here, support. Bernard can do it against support. Basalt. Anyway, let's not go to the monsters yet. So picking your frontline, you probably want revenge on them if they have a good first attack, and they should if you can do it. You want revenge, you want them to be tanky. You don't want an attack monster in the front line. Very rarely you do. Defense type, HP type, tank stuff. I know we said that already. Yeah, actually that's it pretty much for the front line. That's what you want, like as a monster thing, like what to put in the front line. Now, how to ruin them? How to ruin the front line? You need defense rooms, right? For starters, let's go into violent first. Like, violent is not needed in the raid that much. Like, violent is nice, but it is definitely not needed. Charlie Tish Mittens, that's a guildie of mine. He taught me that. I was using violent, for example, on DS. Triple set, much bigger improvement. You see, guard, focus, revenge, three perfect sets from the front line. Guard gives you more defense, which is needed. Revenge, we said why you need revenge. Focus, because accuracy, because I want his debuffs to land. 46% accuracy, pretty much everything lands because he's max skilled and he has very high activation rates. So, you want defensive subs. You want about, if you're not using a defense leader, you definitely want about 1500 defense and about 20k HP for a frontliner. Those are excellent stats, and you can get away with not using a defense leader if you have those stats. Anything below that is gonna have a hard time. Like when I use my Sassoon in the front line, she has about 1000 defense before any buffs, like my totems and all that. She has a bit of a hard time without a defense leader. If there is a defense leader, she does fine because she's like 1400 with the defense leader, so she's fine. Anyway, So yeah, defense runes and subs, as you can see, speed, HP, defense. This way of runing DS and of runing Darien as well, if you have a Darien, is a very good way to do it. You have a lot of speed. Speed is very good in the raid because even if you get the speed debuff, you don't get you still move at least a bit, and it's sort of more you cheat the RNG because if you use Violent with less speed, then you have a chance of doing well, but then because it's all auto, like you can't stop it and say, okay DS, now use your second skill, because if we don't, we wipe. If you have speed on it and not Violent, you control the RNG a bit more. You don't get RNG'd as much into death. So that's one thing. That's why I really like speed on monsters, and that's why the triple set actually helps you with that, because you can put speed on this, and with the guard set you still have pretty decent defense, right? Because you get you don't get the 63% that you would get from a defense slot 2 rune, but you get a decent 15% plus any subs that they might have, so you don't lose that much, and you gain a huge amount of speed. Similar for Darien, like my Darien is runed for defense, but you get the gist. You can use Darien instead of DS. Let's be clear on that. Speed on the front line. What else? Like my Vela has a lot of speed, also for PvP, but I can use him in the front line. He works fine. You see, my Delphoy also has speed. She's not maxed, so she can be plus 93. That's 189 speed. That's not bad. And she doesn't have like the prime cut of runes anyway. So yeah, that's what you want for the front line. Let's just stick to that. Violent is not that needed or that great. It's good, but I would tend to use Violent on the support monsters that have something that influences the team, like Delphoy, like Bella, like Sassoon. Sassoon obviously if you use it in the front line. But on monsters that are debuffers and tanks, I would not put them on Violent. First of all, you reduce the Violent runes needed, right? So you don't have as many Violent runes, so that's cool, right? And then because you have more Violent runes to move around your monsters, so that's really nice. Also, you get to get some use out of those guard runes and those focus runes that you don't use anymore because everything is Violent Nemesis or Violent Revenge. Also, all those grindstones that you get cannot be used. You see guard grindstones? I use them everywhere. Like this one hasn't gotten any, but it's gotten an enchant. See, I needed the accuracy. So you can use your grindstones on the less popular sets, and that's really nice. So yeah, that's about it from the front line. Monsters you can use specifically, like DS, Darien, Bella, if you rune him like this, with defense, HP defense, or even speed HP defense if you can get like very high defense. You see mine has over 1700. He does fine in the front line. He's a bit slow though, so I would have liked him to be a bit faster. What else? Molly can be used in the front line, but she doesn't bring much. Sassoon can be used, but with she has to have very good defense subs. Or a defense leader. Brienne can be used, like any Death Knight can be used. Let's start with that. Any Death Knight can be used. The best ones are Fedora and DS. Second tier are Arnold and Brienne. Okay. With Brienne probably being a little bit better, but Arnold is still decent. Delphoy can be used, Bernard can be used with like speed, defense, HP. He has very high base defense and a decent HP amount, so with speed, HP, defense, he can definitely be a frontliner. What else can be used? Vela can be used, Delphoy we said. Camila can be used. Vigor can be used if you want. I'm not a big fan, but he can be used. The Fire Lizardman. I have a friend in EU, a Greek guy. He uses Fire Lizardman for the front line. It's actually a pretty decent idea because he puts attack debuff on the boss when it hits him. He's like 50% immune to crit, and he has a defense break. So he's not actually a very bad choice if you're really lacking in that regard. So he's a decent choice actually for frontline, especially for 4s. For 5s, you can still do it, but there are better options, unless you don't have any better options, so Fire Lizardman it is. So, I think that's about it for the front line. If you have any more questions, feel free to explore with me. Now let's go to the backline. The backline is very important because it houses your healers usually, and your cleansers usually again, because you might use Delphi and Bella, and like Tassoon in the front line, so it's your backline is like a DPSer, but usually you would put tanks in the front, and then maybe Tassoon, and then the rest of the healers and stuff are in the back. Stuff like Colleen, where is she? I think pretty much almost, like every raid should have at least 2 Colleens. So you should make one for sure. Sorry. You'll actually get to see raiding now. So you see my team, this is actually specific to this lineup that we use, and we found that it's oh fuck, my Hua is slow now. Anyway, you will see that this lineup is specific to Miete and Kali, because that's what I found works with them, and it's not actually that slow, so I'm happy with it. So, backline. Things like Colleen. Like you see 1, 2, 3 Colleens. All on revenge. All on speed. I think mine's the fastest one, right? Yeah, by 1 speed. Haha! eat my dust, Cully. But his is like speed HP defense, and mine is speed HP. So, but yeah, I don't care. So yeah, things like Colleen, Kona. Like Kona, I wasn't that sold on him. I was happy with him, but you know, I thought that some things were maybe a bit better. But I gotta admit, he is amazing. Like he can solo this spell and still be fine. And no matter how ridiculous his AI is sometimes, I don't care, because he brings more to the table than he shoves off the table. So, yeah. Anyway, let's go back to the backline issues. So that's... Backline is where you want, you know, it takes less damage, it takes less attacks, because your the boss has the nose thing, so you get less attacks on the backline and less damage. Picking your backline, let's go with this. You put everything that's not tanky enough to take the front line, you put in the backline. It's pretty simple. You definitely put your Hua there, you definitely put your Kona there. Like even my Kona, if I max this rune, he'll have over 1000 defense, but I still wouldn't put him in the front line, because I'd rather he stays alive and cleanses everyone. Because if something in the front line dies, I might still win, because if Kona dies, I'll have some trouble. Colleen should pretty much always be in the backline. She doesn't have bad stats, but you know, she's easier to deal with in the backline. She gets less attacks in, she gets attacked less, she heals, you know, it's just easier because of her stats. You can also use her in the front line, obviously, but you would need pretty good runes. And Colleen, the most important part, she doesn't need very good runes, she just needs speed. So just put your best speed runes on her, and don't actually put your best runes on her, and you'll be fine. Hua is very good for this. Like, there are roles in the backline more than there are in the front line. In the front line you have the supports and the tanks. You don't really put anything else. In the backline you can see everything. You can see a tank, you can put Darien in the backline. You see bruisers like the Wind Monkey King. You see yeah, actually the Fire Monkey King front line. You should always put him in the front line. I forgot about that. He's like one of the few examples of a bruiser that you put in the front line. And you rune him HP for damage attack. Well, HP could damage HP could damage HP for raids. Because you get so much attack, you don't need, and resistance. Violent Endure I think is the best build for Fire Monkey King in raids. Anyway, sorry about that. Let's go back to roles of the backline. The backline usually has 1 or 2 DPSers, a Colleen usually, or debuffer healer, Kona or any other cleanser. Lisa is very good for the backline, and probably another healer or the second DPS that we were talking about. Depends. Like I would run, for example, for raid 4, instead of this comp, I would run DS Tassoon frontline and then Colleen, Kona, Hua, Stella backline. In this setup that we're running right now, that setup doesn't work. I tried it. So I fiddled around, this works, we're doing it. You have to remember, you have to fiddle around sometimes, because it just doesn't fit the combo. Like, you can't use the same combo with everyone. It's good to have some specific combos, and then, if one doesn't work, try the other. One is bound to work every time. That's about it pretty much with the roles of the backline. I hope that was clear. Any further questions, obviously comments, I'm always there. Also, one important role that I haven't explored very much yet but I'm liking so far, is the attack bar reduction role. And not just Hua, but also Stella. Reducing the attack bar of the boss is ridiculously amazing. One might say, oh, it's not that amazing because the boss doesn't get the boss gets too many turns, too many stacks up here on this thingy. You see my mouse, this here. So 3, 4. These are the turns that I get. But when you get too many turns, the boss actually does his thingy here. This thingy. Is this? Wait, this is the thingy. Oh fuck! I finished. He does the the thing that stacks and stuns you. So that one doesn't have a high modifier for attack, so it doesn't do that much damage. So it's fine if you stack up and he uses that, and then he uses a regular attack with 0 buffs, so you don't take that much damage. So it's okay usually. So reducing the attack bar, excellent. So that's one role that is very good, and it's partially why Stella is so good. I'll explain that more in the How to Stella video. Sorry. Let's stay with this Hua for now. If we do just one more, I don't want to go and change her and then come back and whatever. So that's it with the roles of the backline. Now let's go to the runes and speed, which I always think is a very important part of runing, especially for raids and for any PvE content. Speed is so important for PvE content. PvP too, but for consistency in PvE content, speed is king. So, runes. You can't go wrong with Violent in the back. Like, especially for the DPSers. Like, Swift is good, as you will see with Stella, but Violent you just cannot go wrong because of the debuffs. Right? It's hard to get high resistance into the attackers, right? For the supports, you'll see I've tuned my whole team to be at high resistance, like 71% resistance. This I couldn't get because I needed speed, but 70% here, 67 here, but this guy's for PvP, so I don't actually care about his resistance that much. But it's hard to get, like, my Hua has 23%. It's hard to get good resistance on monsters unless you rune them Endure. Like, you can rune them Endure, but then the best raid Huas, for example, are Violent Revenge to put attack speed debuff up, and if they don't have Oblivion to counter the boss's attack bar. The thing is, runes Violent is just amazing for the backline because it just doesn't allow for it allows for RNGing out of debuffs, which is so important, especially for Kona, for Hua. Like, if Hua hits, she has Oblivion, and she has one more turn left, and then she Violent procs, and she hits the boss once with attack bar reduction. That is so cool. That's so important. That can change. That can wipe your save you, right? Or Colleen proccing out a stun and attacking the boss and decreasing its attack when there's no attack debuff up. So yeah, you cannot go wrong with Violent in the backline. It is very good. Swift is also very, very good because of the speed, as I said before. Like, my Stella does pretty fine with Swift. But yeah, Violent is just crazy good. Again, you can also go with things like Triple Revenge, for example, for Colleen. But if you're using Colleen for Necro, then I would rather go Violent, because in Necro you kind of want Violent. You don't care that much about revenging. At least with Colleen. So yeah, I would probably go with Violent on her. Definitely Violent on Kona. Hua can go Swift, but I still like her with Violent. I think she can do like some huge damages sometimes. I think that's about it for the runes. Like any other questions, again, here to help anytime. Actually, no, 2 sets now. 2 sets for the backline. For things that have attack debuffs on their first attacks, or unrecoverables and shit like that, especially for Colleen, you want revenge, right? You want some chance to put the debuffs on the boss when you get hit. For things like Kona, I think you would be safe with an endure set or a broken set. Like usually endure set, because it just makes runing for him easier, because you get to that 70%. Why I say 70%? Because some people don't have a 41% resistance lead, or just shouldn't fit Tessarin into their team. You don't have to fit Tessarin in anymore. So endure just makes it easier. You can go broken if you have great subs. You can go guard and then get some defense, but don't really need it. So I think endure is one of the better sets. Nemesis is very good as well, even though you don't get hit as much. Like my Sassoon gets extra turns, my Stella, whose Nemesis gets extra turns a lot. Those are 2 good sets. Revenge, obviously, on things like Hua, we said it before, things like Hua, things like Colleen, very good. All other 2 sets are decent, but I think those are the prominent ones. Anything that helps you rune towards what you wanted, like the effect of the rune helps you reach the stats that you wanted, is actually good. That's why I really like endure for raiding. If you can't rune something endure because you use it somewhere else, like I do with Hua, for example, yeah, just don't rune it endure, it's fine. I think that's about it for runes. Any other questions? Again, comments. Now let's go to monsters with backline in general. Colleen. Just get Colleen and Kona. Colleen and Kona are 2 stars. They are farmable, they're buyable, they're everythingable. Just get Colleen and Kona. They're such amazing stepping stones. You don't need to get your Kona as fast as mine, or like, I'm sure there are many faster Konas than mine. Like mine is not very grindstone, he has a 5-star rune. Yeah, he doesn't have the best runes. He just has these 2 which are decent. And that's about it. But Kona and Colleen, just get them. They're easy. Get them. Other monsters for backline include Sassoon usually, Hua is amazing, Stella, Monkey King, the wind one, Verd, some people use Verd, Lisa is amazing, you can put Camilla there if she can't take the front line, the Light Barbaric King is great, so branding and stuff. There's just there's no end to the monsters that are good for the backline, guys. Like anything you can imagine, it's probably playable back there. You just gotta figure out. Just focus on the runes that the rules that we stated before, and you should be able to, incorporate pretty much everything into your backline if you make the comp right. That's what's important. I think that's about it for the frontline and the backline. Again, as always, any questions, ask me in the comments. I'm not gonna build your raid teams for you. You're not gonna give me a box and use this video to help you build your raid team, okay? Or I can rate your raid teams if you want. You can, tell me I use this. What do you think about it? But I won't fix your raid teams, okay? It's too much of a process. Because with the Dragons team, for example, I don't need to know how something is ruined. I just tell you how to ruin it best, and that's it. But with this, there are a million different ways to do things, and then those million ways become 3 million when they become more. Let's not do math here. When you put in the other 2 players that you're pairing up with. So I can rate, I can help you, but I'm not gonna make your raid goals. Some general information on raids. Attack debuff, unrecoverable. Most important debuffs. Very, very close up there, defense break. Defense break is often overlooked because, we all have like a Wind Monkey King and the DS and another DS and another Monkey King and another DS and a Fedora, and yeah, we have enough defense break. Maybe you don't. Sorry about this. Maybe you don't actually, because these are all conditional defense breaks. They are not defense breaks that defense breaks that are on the first attempt, like Darien, like Bella. Those are the obvious ones. Help me find some others. Whatever. So yeah, defense breaks should not be understated. If one person in the group has a Violent Revenge Bella, for example, or a Triple Revenge Darien like mine, then defense break is always up. It speeds up the run so much, and by speeding up the run, you reduce the chances that you're gonna die, because the boss doesn't stack up too much, and your monsters are able to keep up and, you know, kill it. So defense break is actually very, very important, and please do not underestimate it. I've seen wipes because we didn't have a stable defense break many times. Do not underestimate. It's like if attack debuff and the unrecoverable are a 10 out of 10 in necessity, defense break I think is like a 9.3. That's how important it is. A 9 on that same scale is glancing. Glancing is amazing because the boss hits so much. If even like 3 of those 10 attacks are glancing, that's a huge amount of damage mitigated. And then right under glancing is attack speed debuff. It's not needed. I've seen like very stable comps without attack speed debuff, but then everybody uses a Hua nowadays, so it's almost always there. But still, attack speed debuff is very good. Again, for obvious reasons. Less turns for the boss means less damage for you. Like it's pretty obvious, right? Now, for luxury debuffs, there's only one really. And you all know it. It's branding. It's a luxury debuff. You don't need it, but it's very nice to have, and it really speeds up runs. That's why Stella is good. That's why the Light Barbaric King is good. That's why Cad is God. That's the Dark Vampire. Don't ask me about Helea and Shihua. Shihua is not very good in there, because all she does is branding. But Helea is too squishy. So, like, I have friends that have tried it. Doesn't really work. So, yeah, those were just some general informations about about debuffs in raids. I think I said everything that I wanted to say. Any questions? I think I will definitely make another iteration of this series with more information about raids, like leader skills, more monsters, and stuff like that, which is going to be either next week or the week after. But I'm also going to incorporate all the questions, like general questions that arise from what you ask me in the comments. So make sure you ask some constructive, decent questions. Not very selfish. Don't be too selfish. Ask questions that you think other people have trouble with, and shoot, I'll answer. I always am in the comments. I lurk. Okay, so that's about it, guys. Thank you for watching this long video, and I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something, and as always, have a great day, great night, whatever it is where you are.